Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you, and this one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Breaking Up with My Girlfriend Because She Changed Her Looks to Resemble My Dead Wife? What? No. I, 35 male, was married to Laura for 7 years. We have a son who is 10 now. She was the light of my life. When we were both 28, we found out she had a rare form of cancer. She passed away 5 months later. This crushed me, and I was left drowning in my grief for a long time afterward. My son and I have been attending therapy weekly ever since. It's been tough, but I feel like we've made a lot of progress. I didn't feel up to another relationship for a while. I filled my time with hobbies, friends, and spending time with my son and family. Then, a little over a year ago, I met Kayla, 33 female, at a work event. We share a hobby that's pretty niche where I live, so we had a great time chatting about it. Eventually, we began to go out together. She's great, but different from my wife. I love her for who she is as an individual. I was hesitant at first, but after speaking with my therapist, I decided to try for a committed relationship if we took it slow. At first, she was amazing. I told her about my past and that my son comes first, even before our first official date. She was very compassionate and understanding about everything. After a few months of smooth sailing, I decided to introduce her to my son, and they get along great as well. For the first time after Laura's death, I could start to see a possible future with someone else. Everything started to go downhill around 4 months ago. She seemed to be a bit more distant than usual, so I sat down with her one night to ask what was wrong. She teared up a bit and confessed that she felt that I had been neglecting her lately. She then said that she feels like I'm using her as some replacement for my dead wife. This came as a total shock. A part of me will always love Laura, but I didn't feel like I was ignoring Kayla or anything. I asked for some specific examples, but she didn't say much afterward. I felt guilty that I had made her upset, so I ended up apologizing and arranged for us to have a few more date nights, and she seemed happy again. Then a couple of weeks later, she had to go to a cousin's wedding. I couldn't attend because of work, but she was only gone for a day. When she got back, I asked for some pictures, but she just said there hadn't been any of her. I thought that was a bit strange, but I didn't pry. Then the next day, a coworker of mine showed me one off of a private page on Facebook. I was shocked to see an expensive pair of my wife's earrings on Kayla. In my son's room, there is a small cupboard with pictures of him and his mom, letters from her, and some of her prized jewelry. I checked it as soon as I came home, and the earrings were returned to the cupboard but in a different spot. I confronted her, and she got mad, yelled at me for assuming that she'd been so careless as to lose or damage the earrings. I told her I was just hurt that she'd go behind my back and take something with sentimental value, even if they were beautiful. She eventually broke down and apologized. After a serious talk about boundaries, we moved on. Things improved for a while before her strange behavior started. Oh, it hasn't started yet. Okay. It began with her changing her hair color to match my wife's. My wife had naturally light blonde hair that a lot of women dye their hair to today, so while I thought it was strange, I wrote it off as a beauty choice. Then she began regularly straightening her hair. Her hair was wavy, and my wife's hair was pinned straight. She also started to change her clothes to be more like my wife's, or at least the ones she's seen in pictures. She also had her ears double pierced and got a cartilage piercing like my wife. This was all incredibly unnerving, but she just said that I was crazy. I'd ask my family, and they'd say I was nuts too, so I ignored it. Then she brought up having my son call her mama. I said I wasn't a huge fan of the idea, but if my son wanted it, I supposed it would be fine. She went on a whole rant about how it was different because he called my wife mommy, so it's not like she's stealing the title. He said no, and she was a bit cold to both of us for days. She seemed like a totally different woman than the one I fell in love with. Everyone around me just said I was probably nervous since it's my first relationship after Laura's death. The final straw was when she got a tattoo that was almost the exact same as my wife's. It was in the same spot, same color, just with a slightly different design. That was my final straw. I sat her down and confronted her a week ago about everything. At first she denied it all, but then broke down into tears and said I never loved her. She said she felt that she had to live up to the memory of a ghost. This upset me because I had asked her before what I did specifically, and she wouldn't discuss it. Plus, she was the one being weird and copying Laura. She kept sobbing and saying that I didn't love her. I got sick of it, so I yelled at her, saying that if she felt so unloved, we should just break up. I honestly do like her, but I've seen how miserable she has been lately, and I don't think this relationship is good for her mental health. She got dead silent and just left and drove away. I was just so tired of everything. Late that night, she tried to unalive herself with pills and barely survived. She has no living family, so I was listed as her emergency contact. She wrote a long letter to me saying she loves me so much, but obviously I don't feel the same, and that maybe if she was dead too, I'd love her even a fraction of how much I loved my dead wife. I'm distraught over this. She's been so strange lately, but before all of this, I really did love her. My mom and siblings kept saying that I'm awful for pushing her to this point, and that instead of ending it, I should have doubled down and reassuring my love for her. They've all got along great with her and had been hinting that they wanted us to get married so my son would have a mother again and possibly some siblings. I didn't think I was the asshole, but my family is being cold to me, and I have no idea what to do. They're saying that I should go visit as soon as possible and support her with this to rekindle our relationship. I'm not sure if I want to do that. She's so unhappy with me and seems obsessed over my dead wife. I keep on thinking about this over and over, wondering if I should have reassured her of my love again or broken up with her in a more tactful way. Am I the astronaut? I'm sorry this is so long. My brain is still scrambled from the whole thing, and I am rambling. Holy hell. You know, it was funny how the only people who were like, you're an asshole, you should have stayed, you need to rekindle this relationship, is the family. But did you notice what he said? The family had been hinting that they wanted them to get married so his son would have a mother again and possibly some siblings. It wasn't because of her. It was because of what she could make possible. Not good enough. Not good enough. And as I'm reading this, I'm trying to put myself in a situation where if I can never be in this situation, Candy Thunder, please, nothing can ever happen to you, okay? Ever, 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 ever. I'm going to keep you in a locked room so nothing can ever happen to you, okay? Deal? Well, I think Candy Thunder and I have already agreed that if something happened to either one of us, we would just, I'd be alone for the rest of my life. I'm totally fine with that. But having to deal with the trauma of losing your spouse, losing your soulmate, and then someone else coming into your life and trying to emulate them would just be so creepy. It would be just the fact that it was possible, just the fact that she started doing these things, just the fact that she took the earrings in the first place and then started trying to make herself look more like her. There's no future here. There's no future. It's more problem. The escalation of problems was ramping. Things were not getting better. They were getting more complicated. She was trying to adapt a new personality because she had somehow got in her head that he loved his wife who passed more. And that may be true. That's a new relationship. What does she expect? I don't understand what she expected to happen here, but assuming the identity of his deceased ex-wife is not the play. It is not the play. Am I the astronaut for breaking up with my girlfriend because she changed her looks to resemble my dead wife? No, hell no, hell no. There are red flags and warning signs all over this woman's behavior. You, if for no other reason to keep your son safe, need to not be around this woman. Things will not get easier. They will get more complicated.